Hey guys, I'm Jeremy, and here's a tragic story out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, from about a week and a half ago. This woman named Khayla Dawson, who happened to try out for the 2024 U.S. Olympic team for shot putting, had taken a ride with a 38-year-old Uber driver named Jeremy Campbell. And she ended up stabbing this driver in the neck and then took his wallet and car and drove home after she dumped the body. I'll go into this case briefly and then mention some of the reasons why you shouldn't drive for Uber or Lyft besides getting your throat slit. So, the day after this happened, the Uber driver's father had contacted law enforcement and told them that his son was missing. So, they looked through the data and saw that the last ride was with Khayla Dawson around 11:45 p.m. And then they got the information from his phone, which pinged to the Polaris Junction apartments where Dawson lived. When cops searched her apartment, they found a large knife missing from her butcher block and his wallet hidden inside a lunchbox on top of a kitchen cabinet. They also found his car, which was covered in blood. She initially told police that she was going to see a friend, but later she said she felt cooped up in her apartment and wanted to get out for some air and go for a joyride. Dawson then claimed she fell asleep in the back of the car and woke up to find the driver trying to touch her. She told cops Campbell pulled a knife, so she took hers out to protect herself, and that she had brought this knife with her, which is pretty strange considering who brings out a butcher knife on an Uber ride. She then allegedly left his body near a hiking trail in Eastonville, just east of where she lived, and then drove the car back to her apartment. Dawson was charged with first-degree murder, aggravated robbery, second-degree motor vehicle theft, and tampering with physical evidence. During the 2024 Olympic trials in Eugene, Oregon, she placed 22nd overall with a distance of 16.86 meters, but ultimately didn't make the team, according to the Colorado chapter of USA Track and Field. I have no idea the things that she was going through in her life at the time she did this, but I'm assuming this could have been the beginning of her downfall, but that's just speculation. So from what I've researched, there's about 33 people a year on average who get killed driving for a rideshare or a taxi. But when you consider that there's over 1 billion rides a year, statistically, it's not huge. But there's a few other reasons why I don't think it's worth it to drive for Uber or Lyft. I did it a couple years ago for a few months, and I'll give you a few reasons why I don't think it's worth it. For one, I was shocked that most people don't tip. Obviously, in the restaurant or other service industries, you usually get 15 to 20%. And I think only 1 or 2 out of 10 would pay tips. So that's a huge minus, because if they did pay 15 or 20% each, for the most part, that would not only cover your gas, but some of your maintenance costs. And that's the other thing you really have to consider, is that your maintenance costs could be a ton of money. It's not just getting gas and getting your oil changed every 2 or 3 months. You're going to have to get new tires, shocks, brakes. Then you're going to have other problems, especially if it's an older car. Now, some of these things you might be able to do on your own, like the brakes or your shocks, or a few things if you watch YouTube videos. But I had some big projects I tried to do using YouTube videos, like changing out all of the spark plugs and some other things. And you might end up breaking something else, or it doesn't end up working out well. And then you end up having to take it to a repair shop anyway, which these days, as we know, everything got more expensive. You're not going out of there for less than $1,000 for the most part. And on the high end, it could be, easily $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, depending on the issue. So while you might be making $25 or $30 an hour, if you deduct all of the maintenance costs and gas and everything else, you might be making closer to minimum wage. And for instance, in Denver, servers are getting like $17, $18 an hour before tips. And most people are paying tips. So I would look for, like a serving or bartending job, or even some blue collar job, like being an electrician. You might even make a little less money up front for the first year or two. but over several years, you'll make more money and you could end up doing like your own business and being, a contractor on your own and make a ton more. Now, if you drive for Uber or Lyft all the time, you do get some perks and some extra bonuses, but nothing near what you could get in other sectors, for instance. So, in my experience, I drove mostly in the day and made, I don't know, a couple $100 or whatever. You can make more money at night, especially on the weekends, because a lot of people don't want to drink and drive, obviously. And I've heard just from talking to other drivers, drunk people do pay more tips and you get paid more for those rides because there's such a high demand. But I personally didn't want to deal with like drunk people all night. But that is where the money's at, from what I understand. But obviously, with drunk people, there could be a big risk there too, especially for women. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on this case and ride sharing in general. My condolences to Jeremy Campbell and his family. This could have happened to anyone. I imagine he was probably at the end of his shift and probably thinking, oh, I'll drop this girl off and head home. And who would ever think that someone would do something like that? If you are going to do the ride sharing thing, sure, it could be a good thing in the short term if you're going to do it for like a few months while you're looking for other work, or maybe even up to a year, 2 at the most. But I would recommend looking at other avenues to make income. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. For the next video, I'm going to do the story on the worst serial killer in written human history. This guy, Luis Garavito, the Beast, was responsible for up to about 200 murders in Colombia of mostly boys. So a really insane story, and even crazier is that they almost were going to let him out. So anyway, take care, be safe out there, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.